YouTube. So this video today, I want to have a chat with you about what's worked for me and my business this year, and the flip side to that is what hasn't worked for my business. And the idea behind it is it's good to look back what's worked, what hasn't, and then next year we can look at improving it, and then at the end of next year we will do the exact same thing again, all for the idea of having the best possible business that I can achieve. So route optimization, swapping people around at the start of this year has definitely worked out really well for me. There's not as much dawdling around, there's not as much faffing around here and there. One of the things that I will be doing next year is, again, looking at it, and I've already seen improvements, and swapping people around. So Monday, I've got a very busy day Monday. The following Monday, I've got a sort of a 3/4 Monday, so I normally have a bit of an early dart. But then Tuesday, I've normally got half a day on the Tuesday, and then the idea is I fill it with new work. So next year, that Tuesday is going to go on to Monday, so I'm going to have 2 very busy Mondays, but I'll have a free Tuesday. I find as well, and this is me, probably the same with you, is I can have 10 jobs on a Monday, and the next Monday I can have 4 jobs on a Monday, 5 jobs on a Monday, and I'll be back at similar times. And it's because I dawdle, it really is. Okay, the work's different, you know, but I just think sometimes with having a super busy days, I go home and I'm like, shit, I've had a really good day, I've earned a lot, I've been really busy, but I've not dawdled, I've not faffed around, I just feel dialed in. So that I really like, and that I want to keep doing, that keep, you know, that sort of momentum up all the time. That's the plan anyway. Maybe it's easier said than done, who knows, but that's what I want to be doing next season, keeping that momentum up. So cordless gear has worked out really well. It has, but there's a little part that hasn't, and I think with cordless at this point in time, I'd just love a mower that you can use all season. I'd love a cordless mower out there that you could use all season, come rain or shine. At the moment I've not found it, but I've only tried the Ego mower. I've tried a Still one in the past. I did look at the Crest ones, but again, mixed reviews on them. I would love to try them out. I'd love to sort of give them a whirl, but it's the whole buying into another battery platform. You know, it's the thing is, at the moment I like Still, and I will keep sticking with Still. I was speaking to them at Grounds Fest, and they said that in the not so distant future, I think it's either next year or the year after, the AP range is going to double in terms of available tools. So I'm all up for that. One of the things I've set out for my business when I first started, actually, I remember writing it down, I want to be all cordless by 2025, so next year. Do I think that's achievable? Well, yeah, I'll be honest with you. The strimming, the blowing, the hedge cutting, the chainsaw, cordless already. It's just the mowing. Certain times of the year I bust the Ego mower out, and again I'm all cordless, but I'd love to be all cordless. Also as well, as I've hit the peak this year, I've hit the peak of how many batteries I use. So I've got 5 batteries, 5 AP300s. One of them is an old style AP300, is in all black casing, so maybe I'm hobbled a little bit on that, so maybe I've got 4.5 AP300 batteries, because they do sort of lose the charge, but I've not noticed it, but maybe, you know, I have. And there's been days, mainly when I'm doing hedge cutting, I've got the HLA 135, and that thing just eats battery, it really does. It's it's the equivalent to it's the same as a strimmer, and you know, it really does eat the battery, but it's a fantastic piece of equipment, it really is. So I am sort of at a bit of a loss as to, well, I'm not, I've made it to the end of the season, touch wood, I've not run out of battery all season. And this is the thing, everyone like it's everyone treats cord. The first one he says, "Woms if you run out of battery," and it's a case of, do I just keep throwing batteries at it? You know, money to have enough batteries. Well, it depends what you do. If you've got, you know, 2 lads and you just do days of strimming, well, it's not viable. But for a mixed maintenance gardener, at the moment, the most batteries I've ever used is I've come home and I've not charged up at a customer's house, and I've used like 4 batteries have got 1 bar, so they've conked, and I've come home literally, you know, with a blower on like 2 bars. But this is another thing, you just ask the customer. Okay, if there's no customer there, you're hooped, but the majority of times they are already got an outside socket, and you just say, look, do you mind if I just plug in? I've only ever had 1 customer that it's been more trouble than it's worth, and she was fretting about the bell, and she was saying, I'm on a meter, and I just, in the end, I just said, it's all right, I've got enough battery here, and luckily I did, and I limped on, and I think I just went home, you know, or it was the last job. I was a bit, you know, pre-worrying about it, but, you know, not everybody has a petrol station in the house, but everybody has a plug socket. Let me know, do you guys charge at people's houses, or do you charge up at your own house beforehand? I was speaking to a tradesperson, and he says that he doesn't charge any batteries at his house, he charges them all at customers. First thing he does on a job site is charge up. And well, I can understand that if you're there all day, but for us, we're in and out, and I couldn't think of anything worse, you know. But anyway, if you need to, you need to. So definitely rolling into next year, I was thinking about upgrading this year to the blower, the BGA 250, and if I can, well, I can, but it's not, you know, I was thinking upgrading to the new 200R strimmer, but I think I'm going to wait till next year, in all honesty. And the reason is hopefully next year they'll do another one of those, buy a battery and a charger, get a free, you know, battery if you, as well as a tool. And I'm going to wait till next year and do that, and then hopefully probably do that with one, and then buy a bare tool only. But then I've got the you know, 6 batteries then, and I've got, you know, that should be more than enough. I'm also looking at ways of charging whilst I am on the go. I've got a couple of ideas up my sleeve for that, but again, I think I'll be looking at some sort of, you know, charging on the go system, opposed to just keep throwing, you know, money at batteries. You know, because I'm hoping the business just keeps going up and up and up, and therefore power consumption will keep going up and up and up. The one thing I'm happy with this year is my sort of tolerance with customers. There's been a couple of times customers have basically took the piss, and instead of seeing the warning signs, I've let it carry on, and it's ended up, you know, me. So one of them was, I took on a customer, and the son says to me, like, he didn't say specifically, but he did say, oh, mum was a bit of a fusspot. And he took me on to just do the grass. That was the arrangement. The arrangement was done through him. The arrangement was just do the grass. Straight from day one, the mum come out and she was like, this needs doing, that needs doing, this needs doing, you know, and it wasn't what we arranged. And I spoke to the son about it, and he says, well, does it need doing? I says, no. And that was the answer. In all honesty, don't get me wrong, I love me some extra work, but what she was asking just didn't need it doing. It was pointless. It was the sake of getting the hedge trimmer out and waving it over a hedge that didn't need doing. And I pretty much explained that to him, but the mother was you know, bloody, she was hot on constantly, this needs doing, this needs doing. And in the end, I was gardening and I was having to say no to her. So the son was saying, look, no, don't do it, you know, just make an excuse, you know, just tell her you can't, tell her you're busy, whatever. And I was like, well, and in the end it started making me look bad, because all I was doing to this lady was just saying no. I think honestly what she wanted a chap. I think she just wanted someone there for a couple of hours or an hour where she can give these lists to, and you know, he can just tit her over and just do little bits. So unfortunately, you know, and she did end up getting quite ratty a couple of times, a bit aggy at me, you know, and she was frustrated, and I could see it wasn't what I signed up for, and it wasn't what was advertised, you know. But who knows, you know, but maybe I should have picked up on that warning sign. I don't know. And like I said, there's been a couple of other instances, but by and large, it's been going, you know, very well. And, you know, there's been times where I would have compromised. So it's like that lady that got me there to do hedge cutting and cutting the shrubs. But when I got there, it was just weeding. It's all she wanted doing. It was like as if she'd tricked me into going there. You know, because I said to her about the shrubs. Oh no, the shrubs are fine. It's the borders I need help with and the weeding. And, you know, explaining to her, well, actually, I can't do that because of the problems I've got. You know, she went quite aggy, and unfortunately, you know. But I talked about that ages ago. But maybe, you know, don't know what that was. But yeah, definitely last year I probably would have said to that customer, or even a year before, oh yeah, I'll do that for you. You know, well, this year I have got an appointment with a consultant, and as horrible as it sounds, I think I've got another hernia. And it's stuff like that. And, you know, this is the thing I found with customers. You tell them that you can't do certain things, you know, from the very get-go, but some of them will just keep putting on you, and, you know, even if you can't, you know, they'll still keep suggesting stuff. Oh, well, if I get a ton bag of this drop, I can't do it, you know. But then again, maybe that's my fault, because I always say to people, just ask and I'll tell you. But no, overall, and I do feel this year I haven't had, as touch wood so far, I haven't had as many pain in the arse customers as I've had in previous years. And from what I can gather, I've seen, like, other YouTubers, I've not seen them take to YouTube to complain, as, you know, or point out that these customers exist. It's not so much complaining sometimes. I always do it as, this person's done this is how I've done it, hopefully you won't make the same mistake, or you'll do it differently, which will therefore help you. So yeah, the van layout's doing fine. It's every so often I'm reminded that I'm at the peak of what this van can perform for me in terms of, you know, tools and setup. I do always consider upgrading the van to a bigger van. You know, in terms of like the power washing, it's, again, that's a subject in its own right. I need to get that sorted, but it's just priorities, and that's one thing I want to talk about now. As I think in the past I've prioritised the right things and it's worked, but then I've prioritised the wrong things, and I have been a bit snap decision. I remember the worst one was the weed ripper, where in my head I had a lot of work lined up for it and it all fell through, and then I was left with a tool that was basically a boat anchor at this point, and I also had a bad experience with it. To boot, it was like the cherry on the cake. So it was like, I don't know what it was, it was almost haunting, this tool was. I remember I tucked it right in the farthest corner of the container, and I always leant something up against it so you couldn't see it, or I couldn't see it, because for me marked my fit. That was at that time the most expensive tool I've ever bought for my business, and I'll be honest with you, it was a complete disaster from day one, basically. Now, touch wood, luckily for me, touch wood again, I've managed to sell the tool. I have took a hit, probably a bigger hit than I should, but I wanted it gone. So in all fairness, the machine itself's perfect. You know, it's gone to a good home, as I believe, but it's not worked out well for me, and this is what it's making me think now about these big purchases. Like this year, one of the overarching things for me is keeping costs down, not skimping. I do genuinely believe it's like with tools and stuff, and invest. You've got to keep investing in your business. You can't just stop investing, you know, and let your kit just ride out, because it'll just go to rack and ruin. I've got, you know, next couple of years are going to be very formative in my own life, personal life and business life, where in a couple of years time, you know, money might not be, even though the business is probably doing well, or hopefully will keep doing well, it might be in a couple of years time that the money is going to be very, very tight. and you know, because it has to go elsewhere, and I want to keep upgrading the business to just pull out on the road, don't look, and then just smile as you drive off. But anyway, a bit of a Reese moment that. But yeah, next couple of years, I don't know where or how much money I'm going to have to spend on the business, because it's going to be going elsewhere, I think. So I don't want to be running my kit down. I want to be upgrading it, because, you know, especially for that next couple of years, there might be a year or two where it's a bit uncertain, or even a year. Who knows? You just don't know yet. But I don't want to be, you know, running kit that's years old, you know. It's had a load of season, it's had a load of work on it, because it'll just let me down. I don't want that. I don't want to be thinking, shit, this has blown up, I need this, or that's blown up, I need that, or that's stopped working and I haven't got to spend it. So while the good times are good, in air quotes, I am looking at upgrading kit. Not all of it. I'm happy with the mowers. I've got more than enough mowers. Weirdly enough, as the business is going, and my lawns and my gardens are shrinking, it's like all the work I'm getting and the hedges, everything's getting smaller and smaller. Can't understand. Well, I can maybe, you know, but it's, you know, my work seems to be getting smaller. So it's like the Still roller mower. I bought that brand new last year. It hasn't made it out the container all year. I've still ran it, but it's just not had. It's just had no use on it. Would I sell? No, I wouldn't. It's stuff like that I wouldn't sell. But you don't know what next year will bring, and I've done this before. I had a lovely Still mulching mower. It was a really, and it still winds me up to this day. And there's been so many times this year I thought I could have used that. I would have been fantastic. But I was not forced, but pressured into selling it. And I regretted it as soon as I sold it, because the bloke come and bought it and he says, bloody hell, this hasn't had any weight really, has it? I'm like, no, tell me about it. You know, so it's like that. I don't want to be doing that again. You don't know what will come round. At the time, like I said, it was more sort of pressured into it with the, oh, it hasn't got much work for it. But now, you know, the next year, there's been so many times I could have used it. You know, so it's a bit of a thing. Yeah, I'm the worst one to ask for advice on should I sell it or not, because I'll be like, well, you don't know what next year will bring. But then you could keep something for 10 years hoping for that, and it'll just gather dust, but who knows. But equipment wise, I'm very, very happy. Like I said, it's my next, you know, it's like the waste situation. I keep thinking about getting a chipper or a shredder, but in all honesty, I just think it would be nice to have, but it's not a need. What I've done this year is every time, so if I think I need something, I buy a lot of stuff off eBay. I just find it's convenient. So I have an eBay basket, so I'll put stuff in my eBay basket and I'll do it. So if I need something, I'll buy it there and then. But if I think I need something, I'll put it in the basket, and then I'll leave it. And at the end of the month, I'll go through it, and there's normally about 20 things in there, 10 things in there. You know what I mean? There's normally quite a bit in there, and I'll go through it and I'll be like, I've only needed that once, and I didn't really need it then, or that would be nice to have. And then I compare it back down to say 5 items that I need, I absolutely need, or one I absolutely need. So maybe that will help you, who knows. But that's something I've been doing all season so far, and it's really, really helped me, because before I'd be a bit just get it, or if I go into the dealers, oh, that looks nice, I'll get it. So again, I've been sort of very careful on that. But yeah, the chipping, it's like I think, oh, that would be nice to have, but in reality, the waste situation's been a lot easier this year. You can't beat either dragging it into a ton bag and then chucking it on the floor at a waste place, that's it. Or, you know, for me, it'd be a case of chipping it at the customer's house and then you know, chipping it into a ton bag, and then I've still got to drag the ton bag, you know, off to be tipped. It's not like the customer will say, maybe they'll say, you know, if you say, oh, I've got some bark chippings here, but it depends how much you chip. You know, if there's a lot of it, then you go put it somewhere, but who knows. Like I said, my work, my properties has been shrinking for the past couple of years. It's just, yeah, not in terms of quantity, but just size. So I hope this video helps. As I said, I do think it's important to look back on it. For me, this is a good record because I can look back at the start of the season and think, oh, what did I think? One of the things I wanted to do this season was more free time. I actually said to myself, I want to work hard. Sorry, I want to work, how did I word it? I want to work less but earn more, and I've managed to do that. So I'll probably talk about it in a separate video. So have a good day, guys. Keep on gardening.